When it comes to your life, you need to understand this one thing. Whatever you think and resonate with becomes your reality. That will make all of the difference between living your life on hard mode versus easy mode, because many people seem to believe that life is a battle, but it's only a battle if you accept that as your truth. It doesn't have to be your truth. It is a game, a simulation, if you will, if you believe, a simulation of infinite possibilities, and you are a gamer or even a sim. And the people who win are the ones who level up through experience. And the ones who don't, well, they're NPCs. So NPCs are non-playable characters. They're also known as townies or normies, and they typically don't get it. You need to save yourself from becoming an NPC and come into control of your life, because if you don't, someone else will control you. Because life is not about the cards that we're dealt with. It's all about how you play it. But the first thing you need to understand about this game is that it is also the great game of giving and receiving. Energy itself is unlimited, but we're always tapping into it, whether we're aware of it or not. That's the whole theory of quantum physics. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. That's it. Even if you only think something in your head and you don't act on it, that is still a much bigger deal than you think. If you give hate, you will receive hate. If you give love, you will receive love. If you give kindness, you will receive kindness, and so on. I believe that karma is a very real thing, and it is a boomerang. You throw it out there and it comes right back to you. Life is also about a game of imagination. Whatever you imagine in your head becomes manifested into your real life. So in order to successfully play this game of life, you need to become the master of your imagination, and then you need to let that resonate all the way until you are living your dream life. And this takes practice, it takes work. So we're going to not only learn the theory behind this, but also learn how to actually apply it to your life so that you're winning in this simulation at your game of life. So imagine yourself as a video editor, for example, where you see all of this raw footage happening, but the magic lies in the cutting. If you're trained to cut all the highlights and all of the good parts of your life, that's how you're going to find more of it. That's how you'll find more success in your life. On the other hand, if you're trained and programmed to see all the hardship, all the difficulties, then sure enough, you're going to have a difficult life. This is the secret to leveling up in all areas of your life: your health, your intelligence, your beauty, your career, whatever success in your life looks like to you. So if you're new to all of this and also new to my channel, I talk not just about self-improvement, I also talk about the nature of reality and how to win at life, physically, mentally, and spiritually. If any of this resonates with you, you can subscribe to my channel and like this video so you can see more of it. So in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating some of my concepts with you using Astra, which is a life advice and self-improvement app based around your personal natal chart. And you can ask it anything and it will give you advice. I find a lot of tie-ins with this app and also the entire concept of simulations, because I don't know if I fully believe that our world is a simulation, but the odds are it just might be. And if it is, Astra as an advice app where you can ask it anything you want and get an answer back and have it tailored to you in a way is like a microcosm of this universe of possibilities. We can get very deep into this if you want, but if you'd like to try this out, you can download it from my link in the video description. So yeah, I remember this one time when I was hanging out on my houseboat with my friend. She's a bit older than me and she has 2 children, right? And yes, I had a houseboat because I really wanted one, and I made it happen just by thinking I want a houseboat, and I got that. But that's a whole other part of my lore. Anyway, so her kid was on my little yachty, right? And he was like, oh my gosh, this is like Minecraft. And I said, what's like Minecraft? And he said, all of it, the sky, the water, the grass, being on a boat. And I laughed and I said, oh, you know what Minecraft is based on? It's based on real life, our life. And it's a simulation of all the things happening physically in our earth. And I think that kind of blew his mind a little bit, because he has Gen Alpha brain rot and maybe hasn't touched enough grass. Poor kid. But that inspired me to make this video actually. And it's also inspired by this book that I read here. And it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. I think that's how you pronounce her name. It's a very spiritual and woo-woo book, but very much hones into this concept of the nature of our reality. And I've read many books like this, but this is very succinct. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of certain parts of this book, but I'm going to summarize some of the bits I liked about it and make it even more straightforward for you to digest. The thing is, if you ask for success, but you are preparing for failure, then the failure part is the simulation that you are actually prepared for, not the success part. So prepare for success. We create into our reality the things that we focus on. So right now I'm recovering from surgery, right? And I'm learning about all the things that I can do to heal faster and faster, and I'm doing all of my aftercare routines, and I'm making the most of it. I'm not thinking about the worst case scenario or anything like that. That doesn't exist to me, but I find that a lot of people do focus a lot on that, and I basically stop reading. I stop reading their opinions. I cut it off immediately. The worst case scenario does not exist in my world. And the premise is very simple, and it's basically this. We all have 3 modes that we operate on, right? This is the overly simplified structure of our reality and how everything works, by the way. We have the conscious mind, which is surface level awareness. That's what we're aware of. You watching my YouTube video right now, you see me on your screen and so on. That's also where your willpower lives, your logical mind, your critical thinking mind, short-term memory. Your conscious mind is only about 10% of your entire consciousness. That's your mortal mind, your human mind. What you see is what you get. Most people live in this headspace, and so they suffer from certain things, like, for example, lack of media literacy, because they don't understand nuances or that everyone has a different reality. They only understand the things that happen to them according to their lived experience and how they understand things, because they only believe what they see. Whatever life appears to be right in front of them, whether that's lack of money, worrying about their career, going to the supermarket, reality stuff, things like that, they accept that as the truth. The other 90% is your subconscious mind. That's your belief system, your habits, your values, your thoughts, your emotions, your defense mechanism, the way you react to things, your imagination, your intuition, long-term memory, and even trauma. That's where it all lives. Your subconscious mind is very much affected by what you see with your conscious mind. Whatever we see and feel very clearly in our day-to-day lives becomes a ripple effect into the subconscious, and then it lives there. Your subconscious mind remembers everything, every single little thing in your life. And that has a huge effect on how we end up in our lifetime. And people spend time in therapy to uncover their subconscious minds so that they can change their consciousness. Meaning something happened to them that made them the way they are, and they're trying to figure out why that is. Why is that? How can I recover from this? There was an example in the book where this little girl was obsessed with being a widow. She wore black and lace all the time ever since she was a little girl, always fantasized about her husband's unaliving, and then sure enough, later on in life, she got married and she fell very deeply in love with her husband, but then her husband unalived and passed on due to a sickness, and she was so heartbroken that she wore black and lace for years. So here you need to understand that whatever we choose to adopt into our lives, whether it's the symbols we see or the things that we experience that we believe becomes our core memory and part of our lore, is very deeply imprinted onto our subconscious. It becomes a part of us. This all becomes our avatar, right? Like in the game, the things that we're interested in, including the media that we consume in our fashion sense and all of that, that's all a reflection of our values. I'll give you another example. I love goth music, I love dark wave and techno, and I love wearing black and dark romance and all of that, right? Those are my interests. And as I listen to music that's like that, I also adopt the aesthetic, I adopt the mindset. I began to seek out that kind of environment and became friends with people who are like that, who like that kind of stuff. I became a DJ, I DJ'd that kind of music, and I played at goth parties. And I recognized that I have been many, many different versions of myself throughout my whole lifetime. My normie self, my clean girl self, my sad girl self, my punk face, whatever. This is all just one tiny piece of the grand puzzle, and I'm sure you can relate, right? As you move on to different interests, you discover a new part of yourself. So if life is a game and this is your avatar and your inclinations and all of that becomes like your skill sets, your skill points, your affiliations, for example, and then based on my vibe, maybe in the game I'm a magic-based character or a sword-carrying one, but that can always change. I can always start over. I can restart the game. But my point is, your avatar is built by you, and you can always customize it anytime you want according to what you like and your interests and what you want. And it ends up with you going down different paths in your life because of the choices you make and the things that you're either interested in or you're influenced by, whether it's by yourself, by other people, by society. Like you can think that you're meant to be an artist, for example, but you end up working an office job because you think you need to do that in order to survive. Personally, I love to customize my avatar. It's my favorite part of any game. And if life is a game, I'm doing that in real life too. Even more so, I'm actively choosing choosing to make these choices every single day. And if you don't believe that you can, you will end up getting influenced by something else other than yourself. Then you will end up becoming like a townie NPC. These NPCs do not make choices for themselves. They are influenced by outside forces. Personally, to me, the most scariest thing that I can do in the world is to have a fixed mindset. That means a mindset that is unwilling to change. You will always be who you are. You are scared to be anything else. You will never leave your hometown, for example, to travel and expand your horizons. Personal feelings aside, the last part about this whole consciousness talk about the way things are is the superconscious mind. That's the unlimited mind, the God mind. That's where the material and energetic fabric of reality lives. And that's also where we are all connected and united as one. That's where your higher self lives, which is an extension of yourself that is a part of you, but also a part of the source of the ultimate higher power, the universal source of energy. There are theories out there that suggest that the subconscious mind is connected to the quantum field, which lets us access information and energy that's not really readily available to the conscious mind, our NPC, townie, animal, primal mind. And most importantly, this is the realm where you cannot lose, ever. There's no lack, there's no loss, there's only abundance and unlimitedness. And remember what I said about reaping what we sow? So energy is limitless and life has a boomerang effect. That's why giving is so incredibly powerful. If you give kindness and loving compliments, you get kindness and loving compliments back. And you cannot separate the giver from the give. And this is why I've dedicated my life from now on to give value, give information, give things freely to as many people as I can reach. So now that you think about the super consciousness, you're going to see how small and puny and tiny your current active awareness actually is. And that's compared to everything that you have ever lived through in your life up to this very moment, everything else that you're about to live through in the future, and everything that's ever happened in the universe and is happening now and will happen in the future. This is all part of the fourth dimension in the realm of the perfect idea. That's where everything that has happened and will ever happen and never happen exists. So the philosopher Plato has the theory of the divine design. He didn't create the divine design, obviously, but he made it into a very digestible theory where every person has a specific divine design for them, where only they can fulfill. That is your main quest in this game. That divine design is literally the very thing that is too good to be true. That's the perfect version of your life. In that sense of the divine design, right? That means you are the main character of your RPG game and only you can play that role, your role, and fulfill all of your quests. And to find out what that divine design is your key to winning that game. But most people are not even remotely aware of this, or they truly think that having success is way too good to be true for them. And all that they do throughout their lives is all the side quests, but never the main quest. And something very profound came to me actually, because I realized that we resist our calling because we're scared of the responsibility and the work, because the main quest is the biggest responsibility of our lives. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about Plato's divine design, and I asked Astra for that actually. I said, talk to me about Plato's divine design. And it said, fascinating. As a Cancer sun, naturally, I'm very drawn to exploring the mysteries of the universe and all the interconnectedness of everything. So Plato's divine design is the idea that the universe is governed by a higher eternal realm of abstract forms of ideas, which will serve as the blueprint for the imperfect, ever-changing world that we're experiencing right now through our senses. And then they asked me, like, what do I want to know about it? So I gave it a bit more specifics, and I said, tell me more about it, and how can I apply it to my life? So now it's saying that Plato's divine design is all about understanding the true nature of reality, right? Because he believed that the world is what we experience through our senses. That's only just a very tiny part or an imitation of a higher eternal realm of perfection, perfect forms of ideas. This is also kind of a very Jungian concept as well if you're into psychology. These forms are the ultimate reality, and everything in our world is just a sliver, a very small reflection of it, an imperfect symbol of it. For example, Plato will say that there's a perfect eternal form of beauty and that all the beautiful things in our world are just imperfect versions of that. And this idea can be applied to so many areas of our life: perfect justice, perfect goodness, perfect love, and all of that. So how can I apply this into my life? Specifically for me, because my sun and moon signs are Cancer and Pisces, I'm already very, very in tune to the emotional and intuitive realms. So it gave me a suggestion. It says, next time I'm seeking guidance or clarity, take a moment to connect with this higher realm, this super consciousness plane. And I do this by asking myself, what is the eternal perfect version or form of whatever it is I want to connect with, whether that's a perfect relationship, perfect life, perfect version version of success to me and see what I can learn from it. And I think that this is a very, very powerful visualization practice and meditation. If I, as the imperfect human being that I am, can access even 0.1% of that, it can help me align myself to the right path and access a deeper level of wisdom and understanding and align with the higher good. And this is a very good way to nurture myself spiritually. Your super conscious mind is infinite and it's all inside of you. We all have this universe, this perfect answer inside of us. And I love this quote. We are not a drop in the ocean. We're the entire ocean in a drop. So if you spend your life not knowing this and you're constantly chasing after things that belong to other people and they don't belong to you, and you're constantly comparing yourself to them, that's when you automatically will lose this game of life, because you will never be a perfect version or a better version of someone else. But the thing about the super consciousness is nothing is too small. It's waiting for you to tap into it for anything. Even if you want to find like a penny on the street or something. If you're wondering, okay, how do I know what this divine design is? That's a path that you need to take by following your intuition, the whispers of the universe. And the universe will let you know when something is wrong, when you're going off the path, or when your reality is changing, because that's when everything starts to fall apart for you. The universe will whisper until it screams. And when it screams, that's when it starts to kick your butt. And you need to follow your intuition. Never violate a hunch. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is to learn to trust and follow your gut instincts. Learn to see the red flags and the green flags in your life, because that's what will lead you to your path. When you're on the path of the green flags, think of it as collecting combo points, right? The more combo points you collect, the more experience you get, and maybe you get your points multiplied and you level up even faster. That's how it works. Even a simple small thought in your head, like for example, I say to myself this every morning, okay? I say, I am an irresistible magnet for everything that belongs to me by my divine right. That is my ultimate cheat code to the universe. And I was collecting unemployment at the beginning of this year. I'm not going to lie to you. But very quickly, in the span of a few months, I went from not knowing what my future looks like to making a lot of money in a very short amount of time. And I also think that consequentially, the growth of my YouTube channel is also a result of that affirmation, because at the beginning of the year, I didn't have any subscribers, okay? Every thought that we think becomes a demand to our super consciousness. But this demand first needs to get through our subconscious mind and then to the critical judgment of our conscious mind. That's our limitations. And that is also how much we allow ourselves to think that we deserve something in our lives. So that becomes our biggest challenge. Imagine ourselves in a video game and we have really good equipment, really good high-level armor, right? And we're equipped, very well equipped, but we're scared of going into the high level area to fight the challenging monsters, even though we're very capable of it. That's our limited mindset. Eventually, we stay at the easy areas, we're going to level up, but we'll level up much slower. And it's the same concept. You need to actively design not only your avatar, but also the way that you play this game. And the way you play this game is by designing your mind. If you don't run your subconscious mind, someone else will do it for you. Don't fear it ever. Us not reaching for our purpose and going for our dream life, that's the ultimate price that we pay in our life. Because can you imagine that in your head, you always know that you're meant to do this thing, to become a writer or to help people, for example, but you end up doing something else completely different because of whatever, because of the world, because of worldly capitalism or whatever, worldly things, right? We're going to end up going to school for that instead of what we're meant to do. We're going to go to work for 50 years and then one day we're going to wake up, we're going to be 80 or 90 years old and we're going to look back and be like, I didn't do what I was meant to do. It's too easy for us to choose fear, but having faith in ourselves, that's everything. And faith is a product of our will. We need to be willing to have this faith, and actively practice it. Practicing tapping into this quantum mind power, the infinite energy, at least having a regular practice of doing this can help us attract all the right circumstances to us and lead us to this divine design eventually. This means that we need to form a habit of constantly thinking about this, invoking this thought, the most successful version of ourselves. We need to to actively design our minds because by default, we are all NPCs. But we need to choose to break out of that and do the main quest and finish this game as a winner. Like, for example, the positive affirmations that I talked about, right? I am an irresistible magnet for everything that belongs to me by my divine right. That affirmation alone is the thought that has led me to do things like build my YouTube channel in such a short amount of time and all the videos in it. It also led to my life to fall apart. Everything in my old life broke down and I thought I was at rock bottom, right? But little did I know that that rock bottom was only the beginning of building this new life of mine. So I asked Astra actually to create more affirmations for me that are similar, and it created more that aligned with its energy. So there are a few that I really like. For example, like, I'm worthy of receiving abundance and prosperity in all areas of my life. I trust that the universe will provide me with everything that I need exactly when I need it. I am a powerful creator, manifesting my desires with ease and grace. My worthiness is not defined by external circumstances, but by my own inner light. By the way, feel free to screenshot this for yourself or create your own that you really resonate with. And you can make as many of this or as few as you like. I talk a lot about affirmations because affirmations are literally like you as a programmer, you are the coder of your life, and that is the programming that will build you up to be who you are meant to be. It is the truth that you subscribe to. It becomes your belief system if you really believe in it. So I also asked Astra to come up with affirmations, for example, to improve my eyesight. And it's cool because not only is it suggesting affirmations for my physical eyesight, but it's also suggesting things for my spiritual eyesight and also the visualization practices to soothe my eyes, and reminds me to take care of my emotional and spiritual well-being, which will then manifest into my physical health. I don't want to get too deep into this, but your physical health really is very deeply affected by your mental health and your spiritual health. You really need to take good care of not just physical stuff, but all areas of your mind, your life. And then you can even dig deeper with Astra because it's always following up with you. I use Astra a lot to reprogram my thoughts and to make affirmations and things like that to confirm what I already believe is true because it resonates a lot with me and it reflects a lot of my thoughts back to me. So if you don't have anyone in your life to really do that or work with that in that kind of way, it's better to form your own path and let your intuition guide you so that you're not following the path of the NPC. Another thing that you should probably add if you want to make more affirmations is to ask for things to come to you in a perfect way. Because if you don't, things can happen very randomly in ways that you don't expect. Like if you want to manifest $1,000, for example, and then you get a check for it eventually, but then maybe in reality, you only got it because you got it from your health insurance because you got really sick and your insurance covered the procedure. You still got the $1,000, but you're leaving it up to chance that it might come to you in a imperfect way. So that is just one example, and try and ask for things to fall into place perfectly. Remember how I said that life is not about the cards that you were dealt with, it's about how you play it? This means that everything that has led to you to this very present moment, it doesn't matter anymore. Your past is imperfect. Don't let your past control your future. Why would you rely on something that's not perfect when you can rely on something that's more perfect, more divinely designed for you? Your current reality really doesn't matter because your current moment is the result of everything that you did in the past, as well as things that happened to you. So if you want a different outcome, you need to let go of the past circumstances, whatever that looks like for you. You need to drop everything that is limiting you and choose to live your most best life right now. Even if it doesn't end up perfect, and I'm not perfect, you're not, no, nothing will ever become perfect. You will become a better version of what you're meant to be. Your future doesn't matter either because it hasn't happened yet. So living in the past and living in the future and what has been and what's about to be and all of that, that really takes away so much of our time and energy. It's a waste of time. So choose to live in the way that your best self can right now. You need to know this thing about energy and energetic transmutation. Energy is all around us. It's unlimited. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created. This is physics. Oftentimes it gets directed at us or to us, and sometimes that's not good energy. So I want you to practice this, and this is how you deal with it. For example, if you are living in a toxic household or you have to deal with people who are just bad vibes for you and you are affected by that, take any kind of hate that you get, any of those bad vibes, any negative energy around you, Take that energy and turn it into energy that becomes fuel, that fuels you. Use that energy to level up. Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be transferred, it can be changed, it can be transmutated. So take that hate that people give you, the criticism, the judgment, the no support, and turn it into something that can create your dream life. Redirect their nasty energy and their anger into your joy. Change their jealousy and their evil eye into your blessings. Lift their limiting beliefs from you and turn it into your unlimited state. But also, do not send them back hate, because you're going to reflect that onto yourself. Remember what I said, life is a boomerang, right? Bless your enemy and you will rob him of his ammunition. His arrows will be transmutated into blessings for you. Or at the very least, if you really can't do that, then pretend they don't exist. Lastly, I need you to become like water. The Chinese have a saying that water is the most powerful element because it is the most non-resistant element, and yet it is also undisturbed. If you live by the water, or in my case, I used to have a boat, right? And you will know that water wears away everything. And yet it literally goes right through you. You know, you can't hold on to it either. It will evaporate and all of that. You cannot resist the current. You can only go along with it and let it lead you back to the shore. But if you keep resisting a problem or running away from it, it will follow you and come with you throughout your entire life. It will chase after you. So there was another example in the book, right, where this person was trying to get away from his mother, but then he found a girlfriend and he married her and she turned out exactly like his mother. So he ended up back in the house, not with his mom, but someone who's exactly like her. This is what happens when we don't solve the issue at the root and let that lead us back to shore, because life is funny like that. It is a mirror. It's a boomerang. Everyone that we meet and find ourselves entangled with is a mirror of all of our past decisions, and sometimes that means the unresolved issues in our lives. And we need to become like water. We need to become non-resistant and undisturbed. And you can practice that through the active design of your programming and through meditation. And one day, this is all going to make sense to you and it's all going to like click for you, and you become like a monk, or you become like me. So now that you know all of these things, you do what you have to do. Do what you must, because only you know in your heart what that looks like for you. And if you don't dig deeper, the more we know, the more we become responsible for. And this is why a lot of people are afraid of knowing, because then they become responsible for it. And if you don't practice this and it's all theory to you, we will end up suffering the consequences, because we could have done it. We should have done it. And we could have succeeded, but you let inaction get to you. So take action, one step at a time. The only people who think that self-improvement is a joke and a waste of time are also the people who don't practice it. So I know you got this. I know you're going to put in the work and become responsible for your life. If nobody else got you, I got you. And I really hope that you learned something very valuable today. And thank you to Astra for sponsoring this video. And I will see you in the next one. And I'll be talking about this so much.